I think many of us in the pro-democracy coalition have been waiting a very long time for people to be held accountable for their role in trying to overturn the 2020 election. And it looks like for at least one of these folks, their luck has run out because Tina Peters, one of the main election deniers from Mesa County, Colorado, was just sentenced to 9 years behind bars for her role in trying to subvert our democracy. And the judge in this case did such an epic takedown of Tina Peters that I just had to share it. But let's first look at what she was indicted for, and then we will go from there.
The jury found the former Mesa County clerk guilty of 7 of 10 counts stemming from a 2021 security breach of her election equipment. In the month and a half since the ruling, she's been anything but remorseful.
Until they either kill me or put me in prison, I'm going to keep speaking out about the injustice.
Prison could very well come tomorrow. Prosecutors say she granted conspiracy theorists illegal access to voting systems in her county as she searched for proof of voter fraud. Peters has falsely claimed that Denver-based Dominion voting systems rigged the election against Donald Trump. She's peddled unfounded lies about the 2020 election since her arrest. Trump allies like My Pillow guy Mike Lindell have helped fund her legal defense.
So, as you probably heard there, she was charged for giving unauthorized access to voting data in Mesa County. This is a big no-no. She worked with somebody that was very close to Mike Lindell, and they ended up going in and hacking the Dominion voting systems, all to chase down their conspiracy that Dominion was somehow flipping votes. Now, obviously, that was all hogwash, and the epic takedown from the judge shows you how irritated he is with all of this. But I wanted to first show you that Tina Peters has never once showed remorse. She always claims that, she was just doing her job and she was trying to protect America. Instead of facing the cold, hard facts, instead of taking any accountability, even at sentencing today, she was still trying to plead with the judge that her claims were still true. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
I'm very taken back by how awful I've been depicted when I was just trying to do my job, the people expected me to do. When I look at the people that have spoken here today and asking for harsh sentences, I'm just appalled. I feel bad for them because I know, I've often said, God doesn't like people messing with his kids.
So she's trying to say that she is one of God's children and that God doesn't like people messing with his children. I mean, how insane do you have to be? If I were in that county, I would likely be asking for a harsh sentence as well, because she clearly has no remorse for what she's done. She would probably go out there and do the exact same thing again. So why wouldn't I ask for a harsh sentence? This is criminal behavior at its finest. And she's showing absolutely no remorse for it. So of course I would ask for a harsh sentence.
And I believe I'm a child of God. And I believe that it was important for someone to stand up. And I chose to do that. I have health problems that would not be treatable in the Department of Corrections. First of all, I need a magnetic mattress. I've been on that since 1995. I was in 2 rear-end collisions in 84 and 2010. It was pretty severe. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit, and chronic fatigue as a result, and I had to stop working for the airlines in 1995. I was up all night because I was in bed all day. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't control these symptoms until I got, believe it or not, a magnetic mattress of which I still sleep on. I will not have that at the Department of Corrections.
Okay, so to just add a little bit of context to what is going on here, before the judge hands down a sentence, you have the opportunity as the defendant to kind of plea with the judge, tell him why you deserve not to go to prison or that you should get a lighter sentence than what the prosecutor might be asking for. So this is the speech that she decided to give there. Okay? It's all about poor me. I'm the victim. I've got medical issues. But I'm sorry, Tina. You should have thought about this before you decided to try to overturn an election, or at least subvert democracy in the way that you did. And this gets even worse because she starts arguing with the judge about her election conspiracies, and the judge has to shut her down.
In the machine, whatever it tabulates is whatever it tabulates.
No, it doesn't. It changes.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay,
whatever
please.
it tabulates is whatever it tabulates. My hand vote, my ballot remains the same. They counted those ballots. Did they not?
I understand what you're saying,
Did
Your
they
Honor.
count the ballots?
No, the ballot images were changed, and that's what the total shows. Okay, I'll move off of this because I can see that I would encourage to read the report number 3.
I've read them, ma'am.
You've read all of them?
I've read those reports. They were given to me at some point, I believe.
Good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right, let me move on. It's not funny. My life is on the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who's making this allegation that, one,
It's
I think
not
it's
an
funny,
allegation.
and two, that I know it's true. You're saying that as if I believe you, and I did not say that.
Okay.
That is why
All
I made the sound, because it's insulting to me for you to just put that in a record in front of all of these people that I believe something to be true.
Okay, and I apologize for that, Your Honor.
Okay, so if you're going to go in front of the judge and you are being sentenced for a crime, I would highly recommend that you don't start arguing with the judge. I can't even believe that she did this. And she thought, so entitled that her conspiracies were true that she went and still is arguing with the judge at the time of sentencing. The jury has already come back. They have already convicted her. They've already said that what she said was not true. She was chasing conspiracies. And you're going to argue with the judge at sentencing? Wow. Just really not good life decisions in my mind. So let's go ahead and get on to the sentencing, because this judge put on a masterclass of how you take somebody down a notch while still being respectful. And I think what he said here needs to be seen by the rest of the MAGA universe. And I recommend all of you to watch this full video. I'll try to remember to link it in the video description. But let's go ahead and start off with the judge saying that, your lies are well documented, yet you still show no remorse.
Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
Pretty brutal words from the judge there. He then goes on to say that, you live in this echo chamber, and it's basically going to be your downfall, and that you are a charlatan. Pretty brutal words again.
And ultimately, it was a belief that the echo chamber in which you live couldn't be wrong, among other things, that led you to do what you did here. This thought process, unfortunately, seems to consume so many in our country, regardless of race, gender, political affiliation, or the like, that what it is we hear and think can't possibly be wrong. There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. In your world, it's all about you.
Now, if I was Tina Peters, I would be absolutely terrified right now. With such harsh words coming from the judge, I know what comes next is not going to be good. And One other thing I just wanted to mention here was that I think it is so important to recognize the language he's using here. We talk about this on the channel quite a bit. It's about echo chambers. And if you are not willing to confront any new information outside of your echo chambers, this could have catastrophic impacts on you. Exhibit A with Tina Peters. She's going to be serving 9 years in prison. I think she's 60 years old. Definitely not where I would want to be in my later years in life. I think it's important that we stay outside. If you are going to exist in an echo chamber and you have your own little bubble of a worldview, that's maybe okay. But you cannot shut down any other information that exists outside of it. It's not going to do you or anybody around you any good. I just thought it was really fascinating that the judge decided to use that language. He then goes on to say that the government, as we know it, cannot function with people like you, basically saying that bad faith actors will be the demise of a democracy, and I could not agree with him more.
This is nonsense. Our system of government can't function when people in government think that somehow, some way, the power they've been given is absolute in all respects. And that's where you fell. You have no respect for the checks and balances of government. You have no respect for this court.
Again, very harsh words coming from the judge there, saying bad actors. It just doesn't work. And we've been harping on this point for a long time here. Republicans have been so bad faith for so long that we've seen such a diminishment in the functionality of our systems, of our institutions, of our government. Bad actors have no place in this system if the system is going to work. So I was quite glad to hear that the judge is pointing this out as well. He then goes on to say that because you lack any remorse, because you think you are still right as you sit today, that you are a danger to this community. That doesn't mean you went out and were violent towards somebody, but a danger to the community can exist in multiple ways, and the judge points that out here.
And this is what makes Miss Peters such a danger to our community. It's the position she held that has provided her the pulpit from which she can preach these lies. The undermining of our democratic process, the undermining of the belief and confidence in our election systems. It's not about questioning it. No one says you can't question, you can't ask. It's completely different. And if you don't understand that distinction, then there's nothing I can say or do here today that will change your mind.
Pretty powerful stuff. The judge then goes on to list the different options that he has as a judge as far as her sentence goes. He lays out probation, something, community corrections. I don't remember exactly what he called it, but kind of more of like a rehabilitation program. Normally, if you are struggling with substance abuse, you might go into a program where they rehabilitate you instead of going off to prison. So he lists off a whole bunch of different options as far as sentencing goes, but he just comes out and says it, that prison is the only place for you.
And prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us. Whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same.
Wow. Again, I suggest that everybody goes and watch this because it was quite powerful. And it's such an example of how living in such an alternate reality can be the downfall of some people. And it is my hope that people in the MAGA universe look at this, and instead of saying that the system is out to get you and that the deep state is trying to take us all down, maybe go review the documents. Look at what Tina Peters actually did. Look at all of the evidence that was provided. And let's not forget, she was convicted by a jury of her peers. That means 12 people had to come to a unanimous decision that she was guilty. And that's how the system is supposed to function. So I thought this was quite an epic takedown by the judge. I think hopefully we start to see more people being held accountable for their actions in 2020. It's just really kind of sad that these people are still hanging on to this conspiracy that Donald Trump started years ago, and now they're ending up in prison for it. And where's Donald Trump at? He's out on the campaign trail spreading more conspiracies and has yet to be held accountable for his actions. That should tell you something. But I'll leave it there. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year and would very much appreciate your support. If you want to learn how Donald Trump spins these false realities for his MAGA supporters, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.